I'm so glad you could join us today. I've got messages when you want them. I also checked out Casino. There are multiple listings in the white pages. I got the page, but you'll have to figure out the right one.
Great. Thanks.
Now, are you gonna tell me what happened yesterday with Malia Getty, or is it just too embarrassing? Don't tell me you actually got to see her.
All the stars out tonight.
Gabriel, you don't seriously think she's interested. She can have any man in the city. You know, men with bank accounts.
You underestimate the Knight family's tragic poet samurai appeal. When Daddy married Mom, she was the hottest catch in town.
I always suspected there was something fishy in your family tree. But seriously, I think you should be careful.
Meow, Grace.
I'm serious. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach about this.
It's called jealousy, my dear. And you're right, you should be jealous of Malia Getty. And should every woman on this planet.
I just... never mind. I'll just fix these books. Your life is in your own slippery little hands.
The point is to get it into somebody else's hands. And soon. Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you have messages for me?
Your pal Mosley called. He left a message that they are interrogating a suspect this morning, and you might want to be there.
Sounds fun.
I bet.
Tell me about yourself, Grace.
What do you want to know?
Nothing, I guess. Never mind. Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
I can't think of anything.
Today's newspaper is on the counter. Times dated June 20th, 1993. Gabriel scans over an uninteresting front page. Under the cultural events section, there's a notice about a lecture on African religions. The lecturer is at Tulane University. Gabriel's horoscope for the day. An evil eye is upon you. Change your course before it's too late.
Lighten up. Hello, I'm calling from the Dixieland drugstore. We have an order for you.
Castro, be quiet. Who is this?
I'm a friend of the owner.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you have a Madame Casino as a client?
Madame Casino? Sure, I know her. She's not here right now, though.
Really? She told me she'd be there. Would you happen to have her address by any chance?
Yes, but I'm not sure I should give it out. Who are you again?
I'm worried about Castro. He's missed 3 dance lessons.
Castro? Her little doggy? Oh, he's so sweet. I guess if you know Castro, it's okay. Her address is 345 Dauphine.
Thanks. I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
A drummer has decided to sit up outside the police station.
Hey,
The drummer looks at Gabriel but says nothing in return.
can I bother you again, officer?
What is it this time?
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
Excuse me, officer?
Yes?
Ah, never mind.
Fine. I'll get back to work.
You! Give me back my badge! Now, Knight!
Sure. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
Yeah? You borrow it again in your history. Now, about today. Glad you made it. It'll give you a feel for how I am in action. You know, handling suspects, that sort of thing.
I'm sure it'll be invigorating. Who is this guy, anyway?
Calls himself Crash. He's been an informant for us before, mostly helping us bust small-time pimps and dealers trying to break into the territory. He's been staying invisible during these murders, but we picked him up this morning at Jackson Square pushing coke. He knows something. Call it detective's instinct.
Detective's instinct. Got it.
All right, Crash. I want to hear about these murders. Have you been present at the so-called voodoo rituals?
I don't know nothing. All right, I told you.
Come on now. You can tell me. Do you know anyone who's been to these rituals?
Look, I can't say nothing. You gotta let me go.
Relax. No one knows you're here. The men who picked you up were in plain clothes.
Plain clothes? Like you could fool them. They know I'm here. They've got ears all over the city. They know everything.
Who are they, Crash? Are they the ones doing the murders?
Let me go.
If you're so worried about being detained, start talking. You tell me what I want to hear, and maybe I can get you into the witness protection program. But you gotta earn it.
Witness protection? Are you crazy? Oh, don't make me laugh. Oh, Jesus, just let me out of here.
Oh, come on. Who's behind these murders, Crash? Why are the victims all members of the underworld?
Oh, by now they know I'm here. It's different when I'm supposed to come here. Oh, if I can send a message. Yeah. Tell him I didn't say nothing.
Christ, he's freaking useless. Just take him back to detaining, would you, Tony? I'll tell you, times like this, I'd kill for truth serum. Damn civil rights.
Can I quote you on that?
Huh? Hell no. Damn, we can only keep him for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna have to let him go. Sorry it wasn't more exciting. You know, for the book, I mean. Hey, maybe you could punch it up some. You know, what do they call that? Fiction. That's it.
It certainly is. I'll see what I can do. can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
Sure as hell ain't going well. There sure are a lot of brakes being applied in different areas of the investigation. We're getting some real info on the victims now, and they're not exactly upstanding citizens. I was hoping to get more out of Crash, but he's scared shitless. We'll have to let him go tomorrow morning.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
You're as filled in as me.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
You're as filled in as me.
Are those new shoes? What are those, loafers? Kind of a mud brown suede kind of thing?
Hey, I'm on my feet all day, all right? Is that okay with you?
Mostly. I'm being perfectly sincere.
Yeah, you and my grandmother. Right.
I'll let you get back to it.
Later, Knight.
A lone drummer beats out the haunting rhythm on a large African drum.
Hey there, nice beat. I dig it.
The drummer does not respond.
How's it going today?
What? Oh, it's only you. Man, I have been jumpy all day. That pattern of yours really freaked me out for some reason. There's just something creepy.
You finished it?
Yeah, and you're welcome to it. Here.
Wow, this is great.
Uh-huh, yeah, just don't, like, blow up the planet with it or something, okay?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Forget it. I'm probably just being stupid. Do your thing with it, and, good luck.
The reconstructed Veve was done for Gabriel by a technical artist. The booth is a colorful melange. It announces the owner as Madame Lorelei and gives prices for palm readings, $20, crystal ball gazing, $15, and birth charts, $50. Madame Lorelei lounges at the booth, fondling her snake. Madame Lorelei, the fortune teller, is garbed in a belly dancer's outfit and wears a boa around her neck. A real boa.
Madame Lorelei, is it?
What can I do for you, handsome?
How's business?
How's business? I have no time for such dull conversation, darling.
How about a reading?
The prices are listed on the sign.
They seem a little steep.
Well, I sometimes do my intimate friends for nothing, but I am a businesswoman.
I'm sure you are. That's a nice snake you have there.
Oh, I could say the same of you.
Well, I know where I got mine. Where'd you get yours?
That's personal.
I'd really like to know more about that snake.
Oh, sorry, sweetie, but I don't discuss Elvis with anyone.
Oh, nothing.
Well, then move aside, sweetie, but stay where I can look at you, okay? Come on, boys, hoopla!
Not a bad idea. Baby, I love the way you move.
Madame Lorelei winks knowingly at Gabriel and twitches her hips.
Yep, she wants me.
Thanks, boys.
It's a silken veil. Gabriel examines the veil with the magnifying glass. The fortune teller's veil is studded with sequins. The sequins look a little strange. Why, it's a snake scale. Gabriel carefully uses the tweezers to remove the snake scale from the veil. The iridescent scale is hued olive green. It doesn't seem to match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain. The iridescent scale is hued olive green. It doesn't seem to match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain.
Madame Lorelei, is it?
What can I do for you, handsome?
Could you just do a short reading for an intimate friend?
Darling, you toy with me. If I thought you were serious, but no, I must stay firm.
I think this veil belongs to you.
Oh, my veil! I'm always losing those things. You have no idea. Well, darling, you're such a sweetie to return a lady's delicates, and so handsome as well.
Well,
And since you have such a clear interest in fortune-telling, let me see your hands. They look so strong. Perhaps they will make both our fortunes clear, no?
I wish something would.
Strong, yes, and yet so delicate and flexible.
You don't know the half of it.
Oh, good. I see a mysterious woman in your immediate future.
Madame Lorelei winks at Gabriel knowingly.
She is a dangerous one, dark and beautiful. Oh, I see the road of your life forking, and very soon.
The blood drains from Madame Lorelei's face in an instant. Sweat beads on her upper lip.
Are you okay?
There are forces. Oh, God, beware! Beware!
What is it about me lately?
The iridescent scale is hued olive green. It doesn't seem to match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain. looks like the lecture is just starting.
Voodoo is the tribal religion of Africa, but the name Voodoo is actually a banner heading, under which resides an entire body of distinct tribal belief systems. The word voodoo may sound familiar to you. What is known in the States as voodoo is actually an amalgamation of African religious systems, voodoo, and European religions, primarily Catholicism. All of these subcults of African voodoo have certain things in common. The most important is the worship of a pantheon of spirits, instead of the single deity that the Christian and Muslim systems have. Some of these spirits are elementals, some relate to specific tasks or places, some represent important tribal leaders who have died. This spirit worship is what makes voodoo so easily adaptable. With all these spirits, it's no problem to add a few more. Say, for example, the Virgin Mary. At the height of tribal Africa, warfare was common. One tribe would conquer another, and the Loa, important in the conqueror's tribal system, would be adopted readily into the conquered tribe's Loa pantheon. In this way, many of the voodoo cults spread and mingled throughout tribal Africa, enriching the belief system and causing innumerable offshoots. The basis for the voodoo religion seems to be as old as man himself. It has much in common with many early pagan practices. Animal totems, sympathetic magic, elemental spirits in the trees, the heavens, the bodies of the sick. Africa is believed by many to be the cradle of the human race. Some of the voodoo Loa may be as old as the Garden of Eden itself. We still can't explain some of the real power of these primal religions. And note, I said primal, not primitive. There are African Bokors who baffle our scientists with their supernatural powers. Now, let's discuss the elements of voodoo.
Fascinating guy.
In voodoo, the spirits are called the Loa. During a voodoo ceremony, celebrants are possessed by the Loa. This is called being ridden. The human worshipper is seen as a horse, and the Loa as the divine horseman. A person being ridden by a Loa takes on the characteristics of that spirit and becomes, in effect, merely a vessel for the more powerful entity. Some of the older original Africa Loa include Dambala, the great serpent god, Ezuli, the mistress of love, Papanibo, or Gede, the lord of death, Awe, the spirit of water, Legba, spirit of the crossroads, and the cruelest and most dangerous, Ogun Badagri, the Lord of Destruction.
I gotta get more sleep at night.
Tribe-specific Loa can have as much or more power as the more widely worshipped Loa. For instance, a particular tribe might revere highly the Loa of an ancestor who was a legendary hunter or politician. Voodoo temples are called houndfors. Their priests, houngan or bokors, their priestesses, Mama Loa. In a voodoo houndfor, there's a ritual circle marked by a center pole called a poto meton. During ritual conclaves, initiates dance under the supervision of a bokor and a Mama Loa, or head priestess. The use of totems, or animal masks and markings, was not uncommon in the original African ceremonies. Now, though, all but the oldest sects have abandoned this practice. Ritual objects used during the conclaves included the ritual gourd, or asan, the ritual knife, or kubasa,
That knife gives me the chills.
the ritual whip, or fouetcache, and the ritual coffin, or seke madule. These items are often optional, called for by the Mama Loa for specific magical rituals. The Mama Loa is the most powerful figure in any voodoo sect. Voodoo is a truly matriarchal system. Even the Bokor knows his power is limited. The Mama Loa is the supreme woman. She goes out of her house at night, sees many things, and tries to get butterflies, and at night again she sees all things, including fireflies.
Firelight. Gabriel?
What? Can't see.
Gabriel, get in.
Can't. It's too small for me.
You must get in, Gabriel.
It's not mine. Too small.
Hide, Gabriel. Hide!
No! Let me out! Help!
Young man, the lecture is over.
Oh my God. Sorry.
Dr. Hartridge is sharp-eyed and even sharper-tongued. When he condescends to look at Gabriel at all, it is with a dismissive glare.
Are you a student?
No. My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Well, you've already interrupted and slept through my lecture, Mr. Knight. I hope you have something worthwhile to do here. If you figure it out, let me know.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood, treat voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing or the power they're playing with.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of voodoo practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
The Catholic Church has always dominated in New Orleans, and its imagery, in turn, has dominated New Orleans voodoo.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
If there's more you wish to know, perhaps you should read my books.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. But June 23rd has been a sacred day since the earliest times. Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill to celebrate the sun's descent on that day.
A burning wheel? Huh. Do you know what Caprice and Call means?
Caprice and Cour? Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in voodoo are usually of the animal variety. Chickens, bulls, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
What was that translation for Caprice and Call again?
It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of voodoo somewhat interesting, from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true voodoo practices.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks, totems, are used extensively in most African voodoo religions.
Do you know anything about veves?
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you wouldn't have to ask.
Tell me about Damballa.
Damballa is one of the major Rada Loa, also known as Damballa Wado. He is an ancient Dahomean rain god, often represented as a large boa constrictor. Damballa is the most powerful and most violent of the Rada Loa. The Rada Loa are typically benevolent, as opposed, say, to the Patro Loa. He is still worshipped heavily in Haiti. And when voodoo first started in New Orleans, the early conclaves were reportedly based on the worship of the great zombie, the great serpent, Damballa.
Tell me more about Damballa.
I have extensive courses in the Loa running next semester. Perhaps you should take one of those, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about Ogun Badagri.
Ogun Badagri is one of the Patro Loa. The Patro Loa are much more violent than the Rada Loa. Some people believe the Patro Loa originated in Haiti, But I have found some evidence that the Patrolois were African as well, though worshipped only by a small voodoo tribe, and a very bloody one.
Tell me more about Ogun Badagri.
He is a chief nasty, Mr. Knight. He is the spirit of war and destruction.
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight. I'm 35, a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse. In religious studies. I'm an agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual, when I practice sex at all, which isn't very often. Any other questions?
No.
Fine.
I'd really like to know more about you.
There have been several articles written about me, Mr. Knight, as well as blurbs on my book jackets. If you want a biography, read.
Your lecture was terrific.
Oh, you think so? You were snoring so loud I didn't think you'd heard it.
You must travel a lot.
Yes, to Africa mainly.
I'm very interested in voodoo myself right now.
How nice for you.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's very rare. Most voodoo practices do not include human sacrifice as a matter of record, but it is theoretically possible, if that's what the gods demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Ezuli, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it. If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, oh, where will we find one? Ezuli is the gentlest of Loire, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Houngan tremble before a possession by one of the more violent Loire, such as Papa Nebo. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that Loire will simply take it for themselves.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most voodoo sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
Can you tell me anything about this?
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Mind if I copy this?
Be my guest.
Great. I'll be right back. Here you go. You know, this is a fascinating veve. You must tell me all about its origin.
Actually, I was hoping you'd tell me. Can you figure out anything about it from the symbols?
Well, some. That's why I wanted a copy. I want to research the design myself.
Have you heard of the voodoo murders?
No. You're kidding. Really? Then the voodoo is authentic. The newspapers are wrong. Boy, are they wrong.
You think this veve is authentic?
Authentic? Mr. Knight, that's like asking if the Mona Lisa is a painting. Tell you what, I'll look into these symbols myself and see what I can learn about the sect that made this. I'll give you a call when I have more information. You are associated with the police, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I'm undercover. You can contact me at St. George's Bookshop in the quarter.
All right. Now, I'd like to get started on this, if you don't mind.
Is there anything you can tell me about the voodoo aspects of this photograph?
This is a serious voodoo ritual. Nasty stuff.
In what way?
Let's see. I can't make out much detail from this photograph, except for the corpse, of course, but the wound, the face, and what little I can see of the ritual paraphernalia, it reminds me of certain black voodoo practices. Very rare. I've never witnessed them myself, you understand.
Really? Interesting. Thanks.
The podium, Hartridge's throne. Gabriel isn't in the mood to give a lecture. Gabriel isn't in the mood to give a lecture. A projection screen dominates the front of the hall. Gabriel's in one of the lecture halls at Tulane University.
Okay, thanks.
Good day, Mr. Knight.
At least the cherub is an aesthetic way of asking for donations. Gabriel might need the goodwill, but he can't afford to make a donation right now. The chancel of St. Louis Cathedral consists of a raised dais, an altar, 2 pedestals, and a choir area. Flags of the world are displayed from the upper story, a promotion of universal harmony, no doubt. Rows of pews line each side of the nave's aisle. Curtain confessionals are a subtle, old-fashioned presence on the left of the nave. Someone is in that confessional. Gabriel will have to wait. There's a small shelf under the meshed window. There's a knothole about the size of a quarter in the wood paneling on that wall. The knothole doesn't seem to operate that way. The knothole is part of the paneling. A padded bench provides a soft place for supplicating knees. Gabriel can't take the kneeler.
May I help you, my child?
Could you give me a blessing?
Do you feel the need for a blessing?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
All right, if it will comfort you.
The priest blesses Gabriel through the confessional window.
Peace be with you, son.
Thank you, Father.
Is there anything else?
Can I ask you a few questions?
The confessional is not the best place for interviews, son. You can contact the parish offices if you need private counseling.
I understand. Thanks, Father.
Is there anything else?
I'd like to make a confession.
All right, if it'll make you feel better.
I've done some pretty rotten things to my friend Mosley.
Rotten? What do you mean?
Practical jokes, insults, among other things.
I see. Are you sorry?
Well...
Pray for forgiveness and say 3 rosaries. Is there anything else?
I haven't paid my assistant for 3 months.
Have you had the money?
Nope.
Sounds like a matter for the courts, son, not the church. Is there anything else?
Some people say I'm a selfish person, Father.
We can always strive to improve ourselves. Patterns can be broken.
Yes. Thank you, Father.
Is there anything else?
I've had impure thoughts about a woman I met.
Impure thoughts? You mean thoughts of sexual relations?
You could say that, but worse than what you mean.
Worse? You mean extreme sexual relations?
Well, not involving animals or anything.
Oh, well. Perhaps we should just leave it at that. Pray for forgiveness and say 10 rosaries. Is there anything else?
I've had a lot of women, Father.
A lot? More than 10?
Yes, Father.
More than 20?
Yes, Father.
More than 40?
Yes, Father.
Son, I don't think this is a matter for a priest. I think you need a good therapist.
If we're counting therapists, then I'm up to at least, let's see, count the one, and, this might take a while.
My son, I'm afraid my lunch break is coming on about now. Pray for forgiveness and say 20 rosaries. On second thought, when you finish the math, say that many rosaries.
Gabriel hears him leave the confessional.
I should probably add one more rosary for that while I'm at it. I've been a bad boy.
A meshed window provides access to the confessional from the priest's booth. The panel behind the mesh window moves from the other side. There is no one there to hear Gabriel's wicked confessions anymore.
I've always wondered how the other half lives.
The priest's side of the confessional is made of well-oiled wood. There's also a box under the shelf on this side. There's a box under the shelf of the priest's confessional. Inside the box, Gabriel finds a priest's collar and some oil used for blessing. Gabriel can't use the collar while it's in the box.
You never know when a priest's collar will come in handy.
Inside the box is some oil used for blessing. That oil is for holy purposes, not the sort of thing Gabriel would want to use it for.
Yes? Who is it?
I've got some great pet supplies. Coochie coochie coo, little doggy.
Castro has everything he needs, don't you, Castro?
Thanks a lot, Castro.
Yes? Who is it?
Blanchard.
You are no Bill Murray. Yes? Who is it?
Please let me talk to you, Madame Casino.
I do not talk to strangers, young man. Yes? Who is it?
Hi, I'm doing an article on voodoo, and I heard that you are...
I'm a good Catholic, young man. Take your evil influence elsewhere.
But I just have a few questions.
I can feel the evil eye. Go away.
Hey, Grace, here I am.
Oh boy, party time.
There's no reason to wear that at the moment. There's no reason to wear that at the moment.
I've got some things I need to do.
Good luck.
All right, but this is private.
Yes? Who is it?
It's Father McLaughlin to see you.
Father McLaughlin, you say? You must be new in the parish. I'm so pleased to meet you, Father. Do come in.
Thank you, my child.
Please be seated, Father.
Thank you.
Now, what can I do for you?
The painting behind the couch is a Madonna and Child. It's a painting of a pretty young lady in old-fashioned clothes. The upholstered chair is less comfortable than it looks. The sofa is velvet, and it is wearing nearly as much of Madame Casano's face powder as Madame is herself. Madame's parlor is full of carefully dusted and polished relics of her past. It's a large antique cabinet. It's probably worth something. Madame would think Father McLaughlin was suspiciously snoopy if Gabriel did that. An old table lamp with a fringed shade gives off what little light there is in the parlor. A low wooden coffee table sits in front of the sofa. There's an old-fashioned jewelry box on the coffee table. A low wooden coffee table sits in front of the sofa. Madame Casano looks fragile and pale under a thick layer of face powder. If Gabriel's not mistaken, she's a slice short of a loaf. Castro, cute as a flea on a piece of fruit.
Nice doggy. Good Castro. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions, my child?
Of course not, mon père.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
People think I'm just a foolish old woman, but I know the things they do. My family's been in New Orleans since 1750, so I know more than most. Voodoo people are all over the city, in the shops, everywhere. They'll curse you like that, and most people don't even notice. Spit on your bread at the bakery. Take strands of your hair at the store when you try on clothes. Oh, you have to be so careful. But I know their ways, so I can protect myself. I know how to use the magic too, and I can counteract their evil spells.
Tell me more about voodoo in New Orleans.
It's just plain evil. It's dangerous to even discuss it.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Voodoo murders? Ah, they are nothing new to me, Father. They happen all the time. I hardly go out anymore. It's too dangerous in the streets. They can get you anywhere, you know, even here in this room. But I try not to let them know about me. That's the best way.
What else do you know about the voodoo murders?
Shh! They'll hear you.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
The only true New Orleans are of French origin, you know. My family were among the original settlers of New Orleans. They came here from France. The Creole society used to be so gay in New Orleans. Now it barely hangs on by its fingernails.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes, they're evil creatures. Did you know that evil people can send them into your dreams? They can. That's why I never sleep.
Right, thanks. Do you know anything else about snakes?
It would be bad luck to talk about that anymore.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
Oh, St. John's Eve, mais oui. I used to love the St. John's Eve Mass at St. Louis Cathedral. Of course, it is also a night of great wickedness, worse than All Hallows Eve. They will corrupt anything, Father.
They? They who?
Oh, you know.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I don't think I should say any more about that.
Do you have any idea what Caprice encore means?
Mais oui, I know. I bet you do not know, Father, n'est-ce pas?
It means don't eat the chili.
Shows how much you know.
About Caprice encore.
Oui? Are you going to tell me what it means, Father?
It means goat without horns.
Father, you surprised me. You do know what it means. You know what they mean by goat without horns, don't you? A human being. That's right. Slit your throat, cut out your heart. Pure evil murder.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Oh, her. I could tell you about her. Voodoo Queen? Ah, my great-grandmother was an acolyte of Marie Laveau. She knows the truth about her.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
No, I won't say anything more. Not to you, Father. I'm sure you mean well, but you are an outsider.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
She was only a front for the real evildoers, Father. And that's the truth about Marie Laveau.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about babies?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Oh, yes, Father. It is the wickedest kind. The kind they practice here in New Orleans.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about human sacrifice here in New Orleans?
Well, my great-grandmother could tell stories. She saw it. People say that sort of thing wasn't done in New Orleans, but the real voodoo queens did it. Oh, yes.
Can you tell me anything else about human sacrifice?
What is to tell? They cut your heart out.
Tell me about yourself.
Me? I am Creole. My family has been in New Orleans for over 200 years. Real New Orleanians are French, you see. These days, the city is overrun with people with no heritage at all. No offense, Father, but it's true. But the French, naturellement, will always be the true blood of New Orleans.
Tell me about yourself.
Well, Father, I don't know what else to say.
It's so nice of you to invite me in.
But no, mon père. I am always happy to see one of the good fathers.
Do you find the weather to your liking?
It's terribly humid. I only go out in the morning and the evening.
What a delightful little dog you have.
Ah, yes, Castro is my boon companion.
Aren't you a member of the Creole Grand Arms?
Why, yes. We do much charitable work in the community, you know.
Have you been attending Mass regularly, my child?
Oh, yes, Father. I attend Mass every morning. Many don't these days, you know.
You're dedicated, madam. Who are the real voodoo queens?
Well, my great-grandmother told me that Lavaux was just a flamboyant decoy. She distracted authorities from the real voodoo queen of New Orleans. It's been the same one for almost 200 years. She's head of a secret voodoo enfant. That's what they call their temples, you know. It's so secret, most of the voodoo people in the city don't even know about it. The real voodoo queen controlled Lavaux, gave her a little bit of power, and used her like a puppet.
Tell me more about this secret voodoo hound for.
Well, I've never seen it. I wouldn't go near it if you paid me. But it's here in New Orleans, I guarantee it. I hear their drums at night, oh yes. That's why I'm so ill, I tell you, those drums. But we shouldn't talk about it. They'll hear us. It's the devil's work that happens there, I can tell you. I'll show you something secret. You mustn't tell anyone, Father.
I swear on my collar.
Here it is, mon père. A true object of evil if ever there was one.
It radiates something, all right.
It belonged to my great-grandmother. She told my mother that it was a token to gain entrance to the real voodoo ceremonies.
You don't say.
To tell you the truth, I've always felt nervous about having it in the house. You know, evil influence and all.
I can see how you would, yes.
And yet, I could never part with it. It's been in the family for generations. Would you bless it for me, Father? I feel strange asking such a thing of you, but surely you understand.
Bless this bracelet of a snake. Even though its vibes aren't great, let it do nobody harm when they wear it on their arm. Voodoo spirits, go away. Don't come back another day. And now let us pray.
It's a bracelet in the shape of a snake. Gabriel has a thought about the clay.
Bless, oh bless this circlet of silver. Take the curse, oh take it, Wilbur.
A lovely blessing, mon père.
Yes, I think it made a lasting impression. Here you go.
I feel so much better now.
Tell me more about this secret voodoo hound for.
I told you we shouldn't talk about it.
Is there anything else you can remember about the real voodoo queen?
Well, my great-grandmother said the real voodoo queen was the most beautiful woman on earth. She had the most incredible copper-colored skin.
Is there anything else you can remember about the real voodoo queen?
Well, they're all brides of Satan. Other than that, I can't think of anything.
Well, madam, I must be going.
Of course, Father. I know how busy you must be tending your flock.
I'm not going back on the street looking like this. Hi.
The proprietor doesn't look especially friendly. His business probably doesn't depend on walk-ins.
Can I ask you just a few more questions?
Whatever, man.
I found out what Caprice and Call means. How did you know about human sacrifice?
I never said them words, monsieur. You must have heard them from someone else.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo houndfall?
There's no such thing. Not around here.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
The only one left is Willie Jr. over there, the old crocodile. He's sort of a mascot now, him.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Black voodoo? No such thing, I tell you for sure.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
Don't talk like that around here, man.
Do you know anything about veves?
Like the ones in the voodoo rituals they do for the tourists?
Right.
They curiosities, no? This a curio shop.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. Have you ever heard of Damballa?
Damballa is an African legend about a great serpent. Folklore, that's all.
About Willie Jr. Would you be willing to let him go?
Maybe. For $100.
100? You gotta be kidding.
Me and Willie Jr. are very close now. I couldn't part with him for less.
Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price is $120.
What? You said you'd sell it for 100 before.
You misheard, monsieur. The price was always 120.
Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price is $120.
What? You said you'd sell it for 100 before.
You misheard, monsieur. The price was always 120.
Malia?
Mr. Knight, what are you doing here?
My family's tomb is here.
Mine too.
Unnoticed. Subtle.
Well, Mr. Knight, if there's nothing else,
Don't go. I need to talk to you.
whatever for?
I can't stop thinking about you. I've been in your thoughts too. I can see it in your eyes.
Mr. Knight, you don't know anything about me. I'm not in a position to get involved.
I've said that a million times myself, but this is different. I think we both know we can't fight it. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this.
I have so many obligations. My family is very traditional. You wouldn't understand.
Hey, I love tradition. I've seen Fiddler on the Roof 100 times.
This isn't a musical, Mr. Knight. We live in different worlds.
Look, I know you got more money than God. Do you think I care? Do you think that's why I'm saying this?
No, I don't.
Why don't you come see my world? I've got a little bookshop, St. George's on Burger.
I know.
See, I knew it. You're crazy about me too. Come by tonight, please. My world isn't so bad.
I'm sorry, but there's no place for someone like you in my life. Not now, not ever.
Damn it.
It's getting late. Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
Excuse me. I'm going inside.
Oh? I'm afraid St. George's is closed for the day.
I'm not a customer. I'm here to see the owner.
Why don't you just leave your name and number with me, and I'll tell him you stopped by.
Listen, if Gabriel is here, he'll want to see me. Is he? Here?
I really couldn't say for certain, but in the morning...
Gracie, say goodnight. You came. I didn't think you would.
I didn't think I would either.
Your eyes. I could show you around a little. It's not much, but...
Please don't. I couldn't focus on much of anything right now.
Yeah, I know. God, what is it about you?
Just shut up and kiss me.
You're not speaking to me this morning?
Don't be silly. I just have nothing to say.
Have it your way. Have you noticed this guy outside the shop?
Yeah, he gives me the creeps. I wish he'd go away.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
Ugh, no. Makes my skin crawl, though.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
No, sorry.
Do you know anything about Veves?
Not a clue. Sorry.
Ritual patterns used in voodoo.
Fascinating. I can't help you out, though.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I'd rather not hear about your sex life, Knight.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo houndfall?
In New Orleans?
I think so.
No, I don't, but it sounds dangerous. You're not gonna try to find this voodoo group yourself, are you?
Would I do that? Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Black voodoo? Ugh, now what are you getting yourself into?
Nothing you need to know about, do you?
I know there are dark forms of any major religion. Where there's a yin, there's a yang.
Speaking of yin and yang...
But no, I don't know anything really about voodoo, dark or otherwise, sorry.
Are you sure you don't know anything about black voodoo?
You are desperate. I told you I can't help you.
Do you have messages for me?
Your grandmother called. She said to remind you to stop by and go through your father's things.
Okay. Do you have messages for me?
That man from Germany called again, Wolfgang Ritter. Now he's claiming to be a relative of yours.
Interesting. Do you have messages for me?
I've given everything to you.
Tell me about yourself, Grace.
What do you want to know?
Nothing, I guess. Never mind. Can I get that phone number for Wolfgang Ritter?
Sure, I'll give it to you when we're done talking.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
I have a pattern I need you to research.
How interesting. What is it?
It's a reconstruction of the tracings they found around the murder victims. The ones done in flour and blood.
Yuck. You shouldn't carry this kind of thing around. Who knows what these symbols mean?
Well, wear your evil banishing gloves if you want, but check it out for me, would you?
I'll see what I can find out. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Here's that phone number.
Thanks.
The number written on the note is 4909-324-3333.
Didn't Grace say you had to dial 011 first to get international?
Today's newspaper is on the counter. Times dated June 21st, 1993. Gabriel's eye is immediately drawn to an article about the voodoo murders. He scans it quickly.
I don't believe this. They've closed the case.
What case?
The voodoo murders case. The paper says that the police have learned that the murders were a result of an underworld cartel war, and that the war is over.
That's not good?
It's ridiculous. And what about the killers? And the voodoo angle, they never got anything on that.
I know you were into it, Gabriel, but if it's over, that's hardly a negative. Anyway, if you're that upset, why don't you talk it over with your pal Mosley?
You don't get it, Grace. Just forget it, okay?
Gabriel decides to check his horoscope, despite his disgust. Death walks close to you today. Resist temptation lest his eye fall on you, too.
Peachy.
Gabriel also spots an ad for Sam Springleton, a jeweler. Sam hangs out at the Napoleon House. Gabriel watches the man watching the shop.
Get the hell out of here.
The figure outside does not respond.
I'm going out.
Don't hurry back on my account.
Gabriel, I'm so glad you stopped by.
Oh, sorry it's been a while, Grandma.
Not at all. Give me a kiss.
Now come on, sit down. Tell me how you're doing.
Gran's knitting. She whips through that stuff like there was no tomorrow. Gabriel doesn't knit? Okay, so Gran did teach him once, but he hasn't done it in years. Still, Gran is knitting? How low can you get? On the wall are portraits of Gran and Granddad when they were young. Gabriel's inherited some good-looking genes. On the wall are portraits of Gran and Granddad when they were young. Gabriel's inherited some good-looking genes. Mostly pictures of Gabriel, his dad, and Harrison Knight.
Well, Gran, I'd better get going.
Don't take any wooden nickels, boy.
I'm trying.
My precious boy, how wonderful of you to stop by.
Can't stay away from you, Gran.
Grandmother Knight rarely uses the fireplace these days. Too much of a hassle to clean. Gabriel grew up in this room. Just being here makes him feel safe. And after about 5 minutes, claustrophobic. That clock has been in the Wright family, Granny's family, for centuries. Granny doesn't like anyone messing with her clock, including Gabriel. The sofa has a worn blue chintz pattern that Gabriel remembers fondly.
How have you been, Gran?
Just fine, dear. I'm sorry I bothered you at work, but, I was hoping you'd get a chance to go through your father's things in the attic.
Don't be silly. You can call me anytime. What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? What an odd question, Gabriel. Of course, you always were interested in monster movies and all that other weird stuff. You get that from your father and granddad. I don't know anything about it, dear. Of course, it was very big in New Orleans at one time, but you don't hear so much about it these days. Too much else in the world to worry about, I guess.
What can you tell me about the voodoo murders?
Oh, Gabriel, nothing. And I don't want to. I sometimes wonder what this world is coming to.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is very southern, of course, though not as much as it used to be when I was a girl. It's gotten much more influenced by the East Coast and that California stuff. Still, it hasn't changed as much as other places, I reckon. We've always been happy here.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
My goodness, boy, you lived here all your life, just like me. I can't tell you much that you don't already know.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? I remember when I was a girl, we always had a St. John's Eve Mass. The Mass was said at midnight, and we held candles. One time, on the way home, we were waylaid by a large group of drunken revelers. They didn't hurt us, but oh, I was frightened. My father was furious. We never went to St. John's Eve Mass after that.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I haven't celebrated it in years, Gabriel. I'm sure there's still Mass in the more traditional churches, but I don't go.
Have you ever heard of Marie Laveau?
Marie Laveau? Oh, of course. She was that voodoo woman, wasn't she? She preyed on people's fears and superstitions, is what I think. There are always those willing to take other people's money for nothing. You stay away from people like that, Gabriel.
Yes, Gran. Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? What kind of snakes, dear?
I don't know, local kinds.
Well, we used to get cottonmouths in the park when I was a girl, but I haven't heard of one being sighted for years. Milk snakes and garter snakes are also around these parts, but they can't hurt you.
Thanks, Gran. Do you know anything about animal masks?
Why, no, dear. Do you mean Mardi Gras masks?
Never mind, Gran. Can you tell me anything about a secret voodoo hound for?
Gabriel, my goodness. What are you up to these days?
Oh, nothing, Gran, really.
You'd better not be. You know you're the only family I have left.
I know, Gran. It's okay. Do you know anything about black voodoo?
I don't know much about any kind of voodoo, Gabriel.
Does the phrase Cabri Sanko mean anything to you?
Something without something, I think. Oh, my French is so rusty, I swear my mind is going.
No, it's okay. Thanks. Does the name Ogun Badakri mean anything to you?
What, dear?
Never mind. Have you ever heard of Dambala?
What, dear?
Never mind. Tell me about yourself.
Me? Surely you have something more interesting to talk about.
No, come on, Gran.
Oh, all right, dear. What do you want to hear?
What do you do all day?
You know how I love to knit and work in my garden. I also take long walks. It's the only way to keep an old body like mine from stiffening up.
You're not old.
Oh, don't be foolish. I'm older than the hills.
Tell me about before you met Granddaddy.
Well, you know I was born Rebecca Wright. My daddy owned a lot of land outside of town. We grew peas and corn and cotton, all kinds of things. It was a good childhood, but my father was very strict. He didn't much let me out of his sight.
Tell me how you met Granddaddy.
Oh, I met Helson at a church revival. There was a traveling preacher back then, a big fella named Reverend Jim. I even remember his slogan, "Come to me to find your way." Your granddad was sitting right behind me and my girlfriend, Alma. And at one point, old Reverend Jim was flinging his hair around with his fine brimstone annex. And a piece of it, one of those small add-on do's for men, went flying off. I swear, Helson and I were the only ones that noticed. We both started laughing to beat the band. Everyone looked at us like we were a couple of loonies. Oh, it was then I knew that he was for me.
How you feeling these days?
Fit as a fiddle, and don't you worry your head about it.
Just tell me anything at all.
I had your father when I was 22. The doctors told me I couldn't have any more after him, so I'm afraid I spoiled him rotten.
Just tell me anything at all.
I hate to admit it, but I was a jealous little thing when your granddaddy and I were younger. I loved him so ferociously, and he did attract the eyes of the ladies whether he wanted to or not.
Just tell me anything at all.
I get lonely sometimes, but I have lots of girlfriends in the neighborhood. I call one of them if I'm feeling blue.
Just tell me anything at all.
I wish you'd settle down and give me a great-grandchild.
Oh, grand. Just tell me anything at all.
I never loved any man but your grandfather. And I never will.
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
All right, dear.
Tell me about our family.
Who would you like to hear about? Your granddad, your father, or your mother?
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21. He worked his way through school, met and married me, and we had your father, Philip.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. Oh, I'll tell you what, though, he hated every minute of it. Didn't really like bookkeeping one bit. Maybe that was why he had the worst luck with jobs. Oh, the nights he'd come home afraid to tell me he lost another. And I'd tell him it didn't matter to me, but he felt ashamed, Gabriel.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Helson was only 36 when he died. Your father was 8 years old at the time. Your granddad was hit by a streetcar in the business district. It took me nearly a year to believe he was really gone.
I'm sorry, Gran.
Oh, I know you are, dear.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Did you know that your granddad was a poet? He was. He wrote the most beautiful poetry for me when we were courting. I always thought he should have done something with that gift, but he was such a practical man. Didn't believe in chasing after dreams.
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. How we adored him.
Tell me about my father.
Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like your granddad did. Oh, they were two peas in a pod.
Tell me about my father.
When Philip met your mother, oh, it was love at first sight. They were married 2 weeks later. Never looked at a girl seriously until then, and he looked at plenty. You have your father's way with women, Gabriel. And your granddad's.
Tell me about my father.
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash when you were only 8. It was the thought of taking care of you that kept me going, Gabriel. The police say your father swerved off the road after being frightened by something. Perhaps a deer in the road, or a wildcat.
Tell me about my father.
Your granddad wanted Philip to have a normal life. He was obsessed by that thought. He pushed Philip to go to law school, but Philip was driven to art. He painted almost in a daze. He would get so inside himself when he worked.
Tell me about my father.
He always hated that it was Margaret's money that supported the 3 of you when his painting couldn't. I kept telling him, try something more cheerful, like a landscape or two, but he couldn't do it. His work was just too dark and disturbing for the public, you know.
Tell me about my mother.
Your mother was Margaret Templeton when your father met her. She came from a very wealthy Creole family in New Orleans. She was beautiful and reckless. She was madly in love with your father, of course, but I also think she liked to find her family. Since you're so interested in family history these days, why don't you go by St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 and visit the family tomb? It would be such a sweet gesture.
It's just past the Ross tomb, right? Oh, maybe I will. Tell me about my mother.
Your mother's family refused to give her money after the marriage. All she had left was a modest trust fund from her great aunt, who happened to like Philip. The remainder of your mother's trust fund became yours when she died. That's what you used to open your bookshop.
Tell me about my mother.
The Templetons are all gone now. Every last one of them. Oh, they never wanted anything to do with us, of course. What a waste.
You know, you get prettier every time I see you.
Oh, you.
Have you baked any of your incredible molasses pies lately?
No, dear. But you let me know when you want some and I'll whip up a half a dozen.
You've lost weight. Are you courting a new man?
Oh, Gabriel, don't be silly. You know there'll never be anyone but your granddad for me.
Your hair looks very pretty today, Gran.
Well, thank you, dear. So does... Well, you've always had such nice, thick hair, Gabriel.
What's new, Gran?
I've been working on baby sweaters for the church bazaar. Keeps me busy.
Done anything interesting lately?
I raised you.
Lately, Gran.
Oh, you know me, Gabriel. I always got my nose poked in something.
It must run in the family. You're looking well, Gran.
Oh, thanks, dear.
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
All right, dear.
I'm gonna go up to the attic, Gran.
Be careful of the dust.
The sheet-covered upholstered rocker used to be in Gabriel's nursery. An elaborate mechanical clock, probably of German origin, is among the discarded treasures of the attic. The face of the clock is hand-painted. A ring of 6 symbols surrounds the face of the clock. A sword, a sun, an angel, a noose, an eclipse, and a dragon. The ring of symbols doesn't appear to have any mechanical function, but it does move. The face of the clock is hand-painted. A ring of 6 symbols surrounds the face of the clock. A sword, a sun, an angel, a noose, an eclipse, and a dragon. The ring of symbols doesn't appear to have any mechanical function, but it does move. There's an interesting design in the base of the clock. A keyhole sits empty on the side of the clock. The old trunk looks like it's gone to hell and back.
There's a lot of Granddad's old stuff in here. Might be something interesting. What's this? It's some sort of key.
A bundle of letters. Love letters between Harrison and Rebecca. More of Harrison Knight's German books.
Just what I need.
Some old clothes, including a pair of leather shorts.
Aren't those called lederhosen?
Nothing happens. The key winds the clock's mechanism.
Granddaddy, you old fox.
A secret drawer has opened in the base of the clock. A secret drawer has opened in the base of the clock. The letter is written in German, but Gabriel determines what he can about it. It was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the reoccurring words strewn throughout the letter is the word Schattenjäger. The only other thing that Gabriel can decipher about the letter is a sense of urgency in the handwriting and in the heavy use of a quill tip, bold strokes and underlining. The back of the photo has the following written on it. Schloss Ritter, 1925. The back of the photo has the following written on it. Schloss Ritter, 1925. The letter is written in German, but Gabriel determines what he can about it. It was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the reoccurring words strewn throughout the letter is the word Schattenjäger. The only other thing that Gabriel can decipher about the letter is a sense of urgency in the handwriting and in the heavy use of a quill tip, bold strokes and underlining. The brass bed frame is from God knows where. It's an old dress dummy that Gran had in her sewing room years ago.
My first impression of the female form.
It's an old, dusty bicycle tire. That box of knickknacks has been up here for at least 5 years.
There's nothing I want in there. Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
No, dear. I'm afraid I don't speak a word of German.
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
That one in the middle is your grandfather. Those other two, I don't know.
Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
Have you ever heard of a Schattenjäger?
Schattenjäger? Schattenjäger? Oh, how odd, Gabriel. I haven't heard that word in years. My goodness, you've given me a chill. Your granddad used to say that sometimes in his sleep.
Really? Do you know what it means?
No, I'm afraid not. I asked him about it once. I don't think he answered me. Odd.
Huh. Thanks, Gran. Do you know anyone named Heinz Ritter?
Heinz Ritter? Oh, Gabriel. Where did you hear that name?
I found a letter in Granddaddy's clock.
Oh, I promised I'd never tell you or your father, but I suppose it doesn't matter now.
Tell me, Gran.
Your granddad's name was Heinz Ritter before he came to America. He changed it to Harrison Knight legally when he arrived.
Why did Granddad change his name?
I don't know. I tried to ask him about his family and his life before America, but he didn't want to talk about it. He never even told me about his name change. I found out one day when I saw his passport in a drawer. Since he obviously found it painful, I never questioned him about it. But I'm sure it wasn't trouble with the law. Your granddad was the best man I ever knew.
Didn't Granddad ever say anything about his past or his family?
Only that his family was crazy and that he never wanted to see them again. He believed in some family curse. Thought that he could spare Philip and Philip's children from what he called old nightmares. Whatever Harrison wanted to spare you, though. Oh, it cost him plenty. He never did sleep well, and he would often get a far-away, guilty look in his eyes. He was wrestling with something he thought he should be doing, someplace he thought he ought to be. I don't know how he could think that he should be anywhere but with me and our child. It's a terrible way to live.
Do you know anyone named Wolfgang Ritter?
Wolfgang Ritter? Oh, no, dear.
Huh. Odd.
As I said, your granddad's surname was originally Ritter.
You know, I always tell people that my gran is the prettiest grand old belle in the city.
Oh, dear. You shouldn't talk so.
Is there anything you need?
Me? No, I'm just fine, Gabriel. I have more than enough of everything.
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
All right, dear.
Well, Gran, I'd better get going.
All right, dear. Be good and keep safe, Gabe, honey.
I will, Gran. See ya.
Another ancient family tomb of the type St. Louis Cemetery is famous for. Most of the plaster has fallen away over the years to reveal walls of red brick. DeMarco reads, Franklin Wright.
These are Grant's folks. I never knew them.
DeMarco reads, Merrill Planter Wright.
These are Grant's folks. I never knew them.
DeMarco reads, Harley Wright.
Grant's sister. She died young.
The Wright family tomb. Several of Gabriel and Grant's family members are laid to rest here. Someone has left a small vase by the Wright family tomb.
Not sure who else comes here besides me and Grant, but that was nice of them.
DeMarco reads, Harley Wright.
Grant's sister. She died young.
DeMarco reads, Harrison Knight.
Granddaddy.
DeMarco reads, Philip Knight.
Daddy.
DeMarco reads, Margaret Templeton Knight.
My mother. Miss you, Mom.
DeMarco reads, Philip Knight.
Daddy.
Gabriel doesn't want to take the nameplates from his family tomb.
Hey, Daddy. Gran talks a lot about you, Holly. How's it going, Granddaddy? Oh, shoot. Huh. Looks like someone left something in that vase.
Inside the broken vase, Gabriel sees a $20 bill.
Looks like it's my lucky day.
Hey, kids!
Bruno. How nice.
Gee, a customer. Of yours? Hardly.
How's the flower business?
Well, better than the used book business, I see.
Rare books.
That explains why I so rarely see anyone in here. Are you gonna sell me that wonderful painting of yours today?
How much would you give me for it?
Oh, you're serious? You'll let me have it?
Gabriel, don't you dare sell your father's painting.
Yeah, I'll let you have it, all right. How much for the painting?
Well, I could give you 100. That's all I can let go at the moment, you know. My affairs are so tied up.
Gabriel, $100 for your father's painting?
Stay out of this, Grace. Fine. It's yours.
Gabriel!
Here's the 100.
You better take good care of this, Bruno. This is not just another of your hip art pieces, you know.
Really? Well, I fully intend to make the most of its display. Though not for your sake, I'm sure. At least in my shop, there'll be a chance of someone actually seeing it. I can't believe I actually got it. Just wait until I show Sid.
I don't believe you.
It's just a painting, Grace. There are things I have to do.
Didn't Grace say you had to dial 011 first to get international?
Guten Tag, Sie haben Schloss Ritter erreicht.
I'm looking for Wolfgang Ritter.
Ja, einen Moment.
Yeah, is this Gabriel on the phone?
This is Gabriel Knight. Why are you calling me, Mr. Ritter?
I've been having premonitions of great danger for you, Gabriel. You must leave New Orleans this very day.
What in the hell are you talking about?
It is hard to explain on the phone. I have had dreams about you. It took me a long time to have you tracked down. I knew that Heinz had a grandson, but until these dreams started, I did not know if I should contact you.
You say you're related to my grandfather?
Heinz was my brother. There is much about the family that you should know. Come to Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. It is our family home. I will tell you everything when you come. You must come immediately. You are in great danger there.
Look, I appreciate the family spirit and all, but frankly, I don't know you from Adam. And I'm not going to fly off to Germany, even if I could afford it.
Gabriel, please. If you won't listen, at least let me send you something. It is a journal from one of your ancestors. Promise me you will read it. You are the last of our line. I'm too old to carry on. You are our last hope. Please, for your family, read the journal.
All right, I'll look at it.
Good. Now be careful, and come to me as soon as you can. Goodbye.
He's still there. I wish he'd move or something.
He hasn't moved an inch since he showed up.
Get the hell out of here.
The figure outside does not respond.
I'm going out.
Don't hurry back on my account.
An unhappy-looking man exposed to dangers of drinking alone. Gabriel and the bartender are old pals. His name is Stonewall King, and he knows everybody around here.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Sure. I'm not too busy at the moment.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? Don't believe in it myself. I invented a drink once called Laveau's Tomb, but it wasn't very popular. Some people do believe, though. Even some of our regulars here at Napoleon House.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
It's all over the papers. Some kind of serial killings.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
They say a lot of voodoo stuff is found near the bodies.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Everybody's talking about him. It's starting to scare off the tourists.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Greatest city in the world. I'd never want to live anywhere else.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
This city must get about 1 million tourists a year, especially around Mardi Gras.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
A lot of people come here because they think it's mysterious. All that talk about voodoo.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
You should probably find a book on the subject, you know?
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
All I know is it's some kind of voodoo holiday.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
People who believe in that stuff think it's a real special night. Magical.
Do you know anything about snakes?
What about them?
No, just anything.
You ask the weirdest questions. I don't know anything about snakes.
Have you ever heard of Marie Laveau?
Sure. She's kind of the patron saint of voodoo in New Orleans. Don't know too much about her, but the tourists sure get off on all that stuff.
Have you ever heard of Marie Laveau?
There's a voodoo museum in town. They'd know more about it than I do.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Come Mardi Gras, you see all kinds of masks in here.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Black voodoo? No. I prefer not to think about that kind of stuff, personally. Crime, perversion, weirdos. Just makes me depressed.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
Never heard of it.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
Never heard of it.
Can you tell me anything about a secret voodoo hound fall?
Are you kidding? Around here? Hope they aren't serving drinks.
Well, if they are, I don't think anyone in his right mind would want one. Does the phrase Capri Sanko mean anything to you?
Never heard of it.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
You know what goes in it?
I don't think it's a drink.
Oh, then I probably don't know anything about it.
Tell me about yourself.
A good bartender listens to other people's life stories without telling his own.
What can you tell me about your regulars in here?
See those old guys at the chess table? That's Sam and Marcus. They've played there every day for 20 years. Sam, the one with the purple jacket, he's lost every one of those games. It's not that he's a bad player. I've seen him beat guys twice as good as Marcus. But Marcus has Sam so psyched out, he loses his nerve every time. By the way, Sam, the chess player, he's into that voodoo stuff. He's always talking about spells and gree-gree and such.
Really? Thanks. What can you tell me about your regulars in here?
This crowd? The ones you see are mostly regulars. That guy and girl in the corner come here a lot. When they're not fighting, they're all over each other. In other words, they're in love.
What can you tell me about your regulars in here?
I'd call you a regular, Gabe. And one of our local writer celebrities, too. Been coming in here, what, 10 years now?
Oh, don't remind me.
We're still waiting for that bestseller.
Don't hold your breath. What can you tell me about your regulars in here?
That's about all I can say about this crowd.
So what has Sam told you about voodoo?
Well, about 50 years ago, Sam was too shy to talk to this pretty girl he was in love with. He went to a voodoo-ien and had her make him a love charm. It was a little pouch that he had to bury under the girl's front porch. Well, he buried the pouch, and the next day he went up and talked to the girl. And sure enough, she didn't reject him. Now she's his wife, poor guy.
So what has Sam told you about voodoo?
That's about all I can remember.
Hi, how's it going?
It's been worse.
Business picking up?
Some. Mostly locals, as usual.
You ever get tired of tending bar for a living?
Never thought much about doing anything else.
The weather's pretty crappy out there today.
I wouldn't know. I never get out of here before dark.
Tell me about the street musicians around here.
I like music as much as the next guy, but they get pretty monotonous sometimes, you know? Like that drummer right outside. They say there's been a drummer outside Napoleon House since the day it opened. Now, I like drums, but this character really gets on my nerves. It sounds like the same thing over and over. I just want to say enough already.
Sounds like my life. Tell me about the street musicians around here.
Don't know what else I could say.
Hi. Can I ask you just a few more questions?
Whatever, man.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
Man, I don't even know what language that is.
Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price is $120.
What? You said you'd sell it for 100 before.
You misheard, monsieur. The price was always $120.
Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price is $120.
What? You said you'd sell it for 100 before.
You misheard, monsieur. The price was always $120.
I have $120. You still want to sell that crocodile mask?
That's $120 sure enough. That mask is yours, sir. Here you go. Careful it don't bite you now.
Yeah, thanks.
Now don't you go forgetting your lagniappe. A free bottle of Master Gambling Oil.
The sign said I could get Lady Luck Oil instead.
Well, I was thinking a man as young as you wouldn't be needing that kind of remedy. But, if you's having problems with your,
that's all right. Believe me, I don't need it. I'll just stick with this. Thanks anyway.
'Cause it ain't none of my business if you do need it now, huh?
I don't need it.
Oh, of course you don't.
Got a second, Sam? It's about your game.
I don't have a game, that's my problem. Don't you touch those chess pieces while I'm gone, you bastard.
I ain't never needed to cheat yet, you loser.
Thought you might be interested in this gambling oil.
Let me see that. Master Gambling Oil. What's it for?
Don't you ever wonder why Marcus wins every time?
Whoa, hold it. You really think Marcus uses this stuff?
Would I make something like that up?
Get out of here. Marcus would never use something like this.
Well, if that's what you want to believe. This is a powerful voodoo oil.
Ah, go on. Really?
This voodoo oil could make a nun get lucky.
Really? You think it really works, huh?
I'd stake my reputation as a novelist on it.
And you say Marcus uses this? That explains a lot. Let me see that bottle. This looks authentic.
Oh, it is.
If I could really beat that bastard. Stonewall, give me a Pim's cup, would you?
Coming up, Sam.
How much you think I ought to put in here?
Careful, you don't want to overdo it. Too much luck can be dangerous.
Ha! There's no such thing as too much. Now stand back.
Come on already, I'm ready to checkmate.
We'll see about that, Mr. Smarty Big Mouth. Checkmate! Checkmate, you bastard!
Son of a bitch.
20 years I've been waiting to say that. Checkmate! Checkmate! Checkmate!
You are the biggest butthead, Sam Singleton, that I have ever met.
Checkmate!
You can just put that chessboard where the sun don't shine.
Hallelujah! I did it! Yippee!
Nice game.
Nice game. Hell, I was brilliant. Of course, I gotta give some of the credit to that oil of yours. I've been losing to that guy for 20 years. If you ever need a favor, you come to Sam, you hear?
Will do. Could you do anything with this?
What is this, a clay mold? Well, I am a jeweler, you know. And I owe you one. Would you like me to cast this for you?
If you can.
You got it, pal. Actually, it'll be a pleasure to get my tools out. First time in years. I've been too busy playing that goddamn game. I'll have the bracelet later today. Right now, I feel like I could do anything. Meet me here in a few hours.
Great, thanks.
Knight, hate to tell you this, but you're out of a book. The Voodoo Murders case has been closed.
I had a feeling you were gonna say that. Son of a bitch. I have to tell you, bud, I'm pretty pissed off about this case being closed. You guys are making a big mistake.
Hey, I'm not any happier about it than you are, Knight, but I've got my orders.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Animal masks? You mean like those Halloween masks they sometimes use in robberies?
I don't think so. More like real animals.
Never ran across anything like that.
Do you know anything about veves?
What?
Veves. They're ritualistic patterns used in voodoo. You know, like those marks we found around the body.
You know what the department says about that, Knight? That voodoo stuff is faked.
Yeah, well, they're wrong. These veves...
Look, just stop worrying about those marks. I don't think they're relevant.
What do you know about black voodoo?
Black voodoo? Sounds like a put-on to me.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
You mean gumbo?
No, I mean Damballa.
Never heard of it.
Can you tell me anything about a secret voodoo hound fall?
Oh, come on. Somebody's pulling your leg, Knight.
Are you sure?
Ain't nothing secret about voodoo in New Orleans. There's a museum, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, but that's the stuff they want you to see.
You're getting mighty paranoid, Knight.
Can you tell me anything about a secret voodoo hound fall?
I told you, you're nuts. Drop it.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
Say what?
Ogun Badagri. It's a voodoo Loa.
Speak English or shut up, Knight.
Sorry, didn't mean to confuse you. Guess I'll take that as a no. Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No? Is that anything like a Chuck Yeager?
I don't think there's any relation.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
Not since the last time you asked.
Tell me about yourself.
What do you want to talk about that for now? We're not doing the book anymore. Besides, you already know too much about me, Knight.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
The case? What case? I told you, the Voodoo Murders case is closed.
How can you just close it? It's not solved, is it?
Oh, it's solved. Turns out the Chicago Mafia was trying to invade local territory. Use the Mississippi for drug running now that Florida's so hot. What we had here was a little resistance from the local businessmen. Word came in this morning that the Chicago group is giving up and pulling out of Nolans.
But that doesn't bring the killers to justice.
Well, the boys upstairs seem to figure it this way. Let the slime kill each other. Better the vermin we know than Chicago vermin, I guess. The attitude in the department is that we just been done a huge favor, and they're probably right.
What about the local cartel? Are you just gonna let them go?
At least they're part of us. We'll deal with them over time. Always have. Nolans is pretty clean that way, you know?
Well, that's the illusion, isn't it?
Look, I'm not totally in agreement here either. But what can I do? These guys are not about to get caught. I'm disappointed about the book, too. Look, next big murder case I get, I'll call you in, and we'll do that one up right, okay? In fact, I could probably dig up some old cases, and you could spice them up.
No thanks. What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
I told you, it's closed.
How can I convince you to reopen the case?
Look, the department's not interested.
So, couldn't you make them interested?
With what? I got 7 bodies and still no leads. The voodoo angle's worthless, and besides, these people aren't hurting anybody but out-of-town drug dealers and hitmen.
The voodoo stuff is not worthless. It's the key to the whole thing. And these people are dangerous. They need to be stopped.
Okay, you want me to reopen this case? Prove what you just said.
What do you mean?
You need to prove that there's a legitimate voodoo cult in Narland. Prove that they're a threat. Get me a lead on the cult.
How can I convince you to reopen the case?
I already told you. You still need to prove that there's a legitimate voodoo cult in Narland. Prove that they're a threat. Get me a lead on the cult.
I'm gonna hit the road.
Ciao, baby.
That's Crash. What the hell is he up to with that drummer? Huh, Crash and the drummer. Interesting. Sam, my man.
Hey there, it's you. I got that bracelet for you. This piece was a real toughie. For some reason, the metal just wasn't setting. I must be out of practice.
Well, it looks good to me. Thanks, Sam.
No problem. By the way, I'm heading out of town tonight.
Yeah? Where to?
Marcus used to tell me that if I ever beat him at chess, he'd take me around the world. The old bastard has enough money stuffed in his mattress to cover the federal deficit, and he hates spending a penny of it. I'm going to enjoy watching him squirm through every mile.
Sounds like fun. Good luck.
Are you kidding? Luck is my middle name.
Crash is huddled in a pew. He looks seriously ill.
I need to talk to you. Ask you some questions.
No way, man. I'm too sick. Go away.
Come on. I have to know what you know about these voodoo people.
You don't know nothing about nothing, man. You are so far out of it, you wouldn't understand anything. Just like that friend of yours, Mosley. Go away!
I'm not like Mosley. I know more than you think I do. I'll believe you.
Oh, forget it, man. It's not worth my breath.
Do you recognize this?
Where did you get that?
Why? Do you know something about it?
Know something about it? Look at this.
Crash opens his shirt and reveals a tattoo.
It's the same snake.
It's their sign, man. The mark of the snake. Without it, they'll never let you get close.
The sign of the snake, right. Your tattoo, my bracelet. Now do you believe that I know something about these people?
All right, yeah. You know about them. I guess.
Will you answer some questions for me now?
Okay, I'll talk to you. A little, but make it fast.
Tell me what you know about voodoo.
Look, take some advice. Stay away from this voodoo shit. You don't really want to know, man. Believe me. Do yourself a favor and leave me alone.
Come on, tell me what you know about voodoo.
I told you, man. Leave me alone. Can't you see I'm dying?
I want to know about the voodoo murders.
You're on the right track. That's all I can say. I'm not gonna risk my life by talking about it, man.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Man, can't you see I'm sick? Don't bug me with stupid questions.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
No! Don't say that name.
Why not?
It's evil, man.
Do you know anything about snakes?
The eyes. Snake's eyes. Damballa.
Okay, calm down. What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
Nothing. Just leave me alone.
Do you have any idea what Capri Saint-Call means?
I never heard of that.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
I don't know her. Honest.
Tell me what you know about a secret voodoo hound fall in New Orleans.
Oh, man. Just shut up about that. Can't you see I'm sick? Are you trying to kill me?
Tell me what you know about a secret voodoo hound fall in New Orleans.
I told you. I'm not gonna talk about that. Go away.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
No. Leave me alone about that shit.
What do you mean? You've seen them, haven't you?
No, not me. Leave me alone.
Tell me about the animal masks you've seen.
I said drop it, man.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Black voodoo? What the hell is that? Voodoo's voodoo, man.
Tell me what you know about Damballa.
No! Don't say that word. They'll hear you.
They who?
Shut up, man!
Tell me what you know about Damballa.
I told you. I can't talk about it.
Do you know anything about Veves?
I never heard of that.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
I never heard of that.
Oh, you look pretty sick. Shouldn't you be in a hospital?
Nah, a hospital wouldn't do nothing. Just leave me alone.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm sick. Dying. Eating the big enchilada, man. What the fuck else matters?
I saw you talking to that drummer. What did you tell him?
You saw me with the drummer? Nobody's supposed to see. Oh, shit! I blew it again. Promise you won't say nothing to no one. It'll get back to him. Everything does. Promise me you won't tell anyone you saw me.
Okay, but you have to tell me everything I want to know.
Okay, all right. I was sending a message, man. They have these RADA drummers posted around the quarter. They see everything, and they report.
Report? How?
The drums, man. It's some kind of code.
Now tell me what you know about voodoo.
All I know is these people are into some weird shit. They have power. Real power. They can write your name on a piece of paper, chew it, and you end up like minced meat. Like you've been through a grinder. They know things. In their heads. Things that no one ever knew about you. They know when you lie. They can smell it. They are fucking scary, man. I don't know if it's the devil or what, but it ain't no fake shit, man. It's real.
Crash, tell me more about this voodoo cartel.
I told you all I know. I don't want to talk about it no more.
Now tell me about the voodoo murders.
They did the murders. And that's not the only way they kill. No, they can get you from miles away. Just by saying your name.
Come on, you don't really believe that, do you?
No. I seen it, man. You can't cross them.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
They always meet outside somewhere that night. I saw them last year. Dancing and howling. You don't want to be anywhere near them.
Tell me what you know about a secret voodoo hound fall in New Orleans.
All right. This is underground cartel in New Orleans. A voodoo cartel. They control everything that happens on the street. I mean everything that's bought or sold. They have fingers in the legit world too. Banks, foreign stuff, you name it. There's supposed to be this temple. What you said, a hound for. That's their headquarters, man. I heard people say it's underground, somewhere in the quarter. I don't know where though.
Have you ever been there?
No. I've never been in it. I'm nobody, man. A runner, but I saw them once. Out at the lake. They became animals, man. Beasts. I remember the eyes. The eyes.
Hey, are you okay?
The eyes. The eyes of the snake.
I think I should go get a doctor. Hey, are you all right? Someone! I need help!
The eyes. The eyes of the snake. Dambala.
Snake. Crash?
Crash spasms twice more, then dies as Gabriel watches.
Oh my God. Oh, poor bastard.
Crash's body is slumped in the pew. What a place for a violent death. On Crash's chest is a tattoo of a snake.
That tattoo looks like Casino's bracelet. I guess I'd better copy this tattoo.
Crash's face shows signs of strangulation. His death was not a pleasant one. It's getting late. Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
Hello?
It's me. I can't sleep.
Oh, me neither.
Can I...
Yes. Come.